Don't forget you can watch us live on Facebook at Ogun TV and Ogun State Television, YouTube at OGTV Abeokuta, and on OGTV website www.ogtv.com.ng/live. For the latest news and reports, check us on these platforms: X at Ogun TV, Instagram at Ogun State Television, or download OGTV app on Apple Store and Google Play Store. And now to the news in full. President Bola Tinubu met with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa in Cape Town for the 11th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission. The session aims to strengthen bilateral relations between the two countries, focusing on various collaborative efforts in economy, security, and cultural spheres. The ongoing dialogue underscores the importance of the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa, with both leaders exploring new avenues for cooperation to address shared challenges and foster mutual growth. The Senate has passed the 2024 to 2025 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework (MTEF) and Fiscal Strategy Paper (FSP) for implementation by the federal government. The passage followed the presentation of a report by the chairman of the Joint Committees of Finance and National Planning and Economic Affairs, presented by Senator Musa Mohammed Sani. The Senate also tasked its committees on finance and petroleum as well as gas to investigate allegations of withheld funds by the NNPC, including 8.48 trillion naira in petrol subsidies and $2 billion in unpaid taxes. The allegation was highlighted by reports from the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NATI) and the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Responsibility Commission. The development comes following the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation saying it had received the necessary and complete documents required to verify the 2.7 trillion naira fuel subsidy claim by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited against the government. The presentation of Ogun State 2025 Appropriation Bill to the State House of Assembly by the State Governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, will hold tomorrow, Wednesday, 4th December 2024. A statement by the clerk and head of Legislative Service, Mr. Shakiru Adebakin, stated that the budget presentation would be a twin celebration as the governor will take advantage of his visit to commission the newly redesigned Assembly complex. According to the statement, the redesigning process saw the 45-year-old complex give way to a modern structure that could match any legislative complex across the world. The statement adds that the budget presentation will take place at the newly upgraded chamber of the State House of Assembly Complex Okemoso, Abeokuta, at 10 in the morning, while stakeholders, guests, and other government functionaries are expected to be seated by 9:30. The federal government has inaugurated a technical committee to establish the National Youth Bank. This is part of the government's determined effort to empower young people, cultivate their potential, and support their ambitions in ways that will create lasting change. While addressing the committee members at a brief inauguration ceremony held in his office, Minister of Youth Development, Comrade Ayodele Olawande, said the committee members' job is to guide the establishment of the Youth Bank in every critical aspect. The minister urged the committee to establish a strong foundation to ensure that the Youth Bank becomes a vibrant and sustainable institution. He added that the committee is responsible for designing a comprehensive strategy for the bank, as well as developing operational and governance frameworks that will guarantee transparency, accountability, and long-term success. He emphasized that the committee will focus on identifying and building partnerships with financial institutions and other stakeholders to ensure that the Youth Bank has the resources and support needed to expand and achieve its goals, and also committed to creating an inclusive environment where youth from diverse backgrounds can access the opportunities regardless of their socio-economic status, gender, or geographic location. The minister urged the directive during his familiarization tour of FEMA's Southwest section, where the state coordinators presented updates on the progress, challenges, and expectations in the execution of their duties. A statement from the ministry's Director of Press and Public Relations, Mohammed Ahmed, disclosed that the directive on Tuesday, Goroyo, also warned contractors who fail to meet their obligations, urging them to avoid further delays. He emphasized that failure to honor contract terms would result in serious consequences, including potential penalties, termination of contracts, and exclusion from future bidding opportunities. Religious and traditional leaders recognized for their significant influence within their communities have been urged to take an active role in promoting gender equality and condemning gender-based violence to reshape societal attitudes and break the cycle of violence. The State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Honorable Adijat Adeleye, made this call for action during a town hall meeting held in Abeokuta to commemorate the 16 days of activism for the elimination of all forms of gender-based violence. Aderonke Oladele reports.
Every year, from November 25th to December 10th, the world observes the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, a campaign that aims to raise awareness and mobilize action to end all forms of violence against women and girls. Joining the global observance, the Ogun State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, in collaboration with the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, organized a town hall meeting with community leaders on gender-based violence prevention and response. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Honorable Adijat Adeleye, reflects on strides made while also urging for more effort to address the challenges that remain.
I urge our traditional rulers, religious leaders, and community heads to rise up to this challenge. Your influence is profound. It is enormous. Your platforms are powerful, and your leadership must transcend titles to embody decisive action.
UNFPA representative and guest lecturers made a call to action to build a robust framework to put an end to gender-based violence.
Community leaders are actually the duty bearers, are meant to be the voice of the government at the grassroots level, where they are to speak against gender-based violence.
And so we are preaching it to them, and we want them to become a change agent within Ogun State and its environs.
Participants discussed their readiness to tackle gender-based violence head-on.
We, the Bale, are doing it before, but we do not have any support. But once this program has been started now, that means we have nowhere to be able to report.
At least it's a good program. I believe this is just the beginning. So if they can sensitize more people, go to more communities, go deeper into the states, at least the menace will come down.
As gender-based violence continues to be a widespread issue in Nigeria, the 16th day of activism serves as a reminder of the urgent need for change, aiming to build a society where safety is not just a privilege but a fundamental right. Aderonke Oladele, OGTV News.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Oludaisi Elemide, has reaffirmed the Assembly's commitment to combating gender-based violence in the state through effective legislation and other quasi-judicial activities. Elemide, represented by his deputy, Honorable Bolanle Ajayi, gave the assurance during an advocacy visit by the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, to the state lawmakers at the Assembly Complex, Okimoso, Abeokuta. Correspondent Kola Woliosho covered the visit. Details of his report are presented in this package.
Playing host to members of the National Human Rights Commission (NHRC) who were on advocacy to the Ogun State House of Assembly on combating gender-based violence, Speaker Right Honorable Luda Selemide, who spoke through his deputy Honorable Bolanle Ajayi, noted that the Assembly remained committed to ensuring unwavering support in addressing gender-based violence while highlighting the importance of investing in awareness campaigns and educational programs, particularly in rural areas, to sensitize communities about the danger of gender-based violence and the legal protection available to victims.
Violence against women and girls will take the law up again. While some are fortunate enough to speak, many suffer in silence. Even if we do the, let me call it orientation for our girls, the mother and everything, in the urban area, what about the rural area? So we have to take our enlightenment or this thing down to grassroots.
He also promised the support of the state legislatures in promoting initiatives that strengthens women's rights and empower survivors of gender-based violence, emphasizing the need for a multi-sectoral approach involving government agencies, civil society organizations, and community leaders to combat the issue effectively. Earlier in her remarks, the coordinator of NHRC in the state, Mrs. Olayinka Odibe, said the visit was in commemoration of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign, expressing deep concern over the alarming rate of violence against women and girls worldwide, including Nigeria.
We respectfully call on you and Ogun State House of Assembly to consider the following urgent actions. Strengthen legislative framework to ensure zero tolerance to violence against women and girls. This includes reviewing existing laws, closing legal loopholes, and ensuring that survivors have access to justice.
She advocated effective legislative measures to strengthen women's rights and invest in preventive and educational programs towards addressing the root causes of gender-based violence.
Ogun State government has been commended on the establishment of task force geared towards checkmating unethical practices at filling stations. Residents of Ijebu-Ode local government area of the state made this compliment at various motor parks visited by members of the task force. Ayodeji Tomori Oluwumi has more.
Still on the mission on filling the pulse of its residents, Ogun State Task Force set up to checkmate unethical practices at filling stations and garages, visited some motor parks in Ijebu-Ode local government. Speaking with some passengers, they relayed their experiences ever since the hiking price of fuel, with an appreciation to Ogun State government for such initiative.
People cannot cope with it, but we just manage. Nothing we can do, but the money is too much for us. We want the government to help us.
Ibadan that we convey around 1,015. We are entering the same transportation at 3,000. I think they should just look into the fuel issue.
Transporters appeal to governments at various levels to come to their aid, especially in the area of vehicle maintenance, as high cost of spare parts also affect their businesses.
In terms of how much you buy fuel and how much a passenger is paying, it has not been easy. But you know, since we have the directive from the government that we should not exceed what we used to collect as fare from the passengers, so we don't have a choice than to comply with what the state government has directed.
It's affecting the turnout of the passengers, because some are traveling on a daily basis, but due to the cost of living, which affects individuals, so they have to limit their traveling. So it's not like before. The turnout for passengers have tremendously reduced.
Motor parks visited include Ibadan Garage, Lagos Garage, and BMT Park, all in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. Ayodeji Tomori Oluwumi, OGTV News.
And still ahead, Senate confirms appointment of Lieutenant General Oluyede as Chief of Army Staff. More news reports after the break.
Let me ask you a question. What's holding you back? Is it the pressure of your job, the demands of your education, or your ability to connect with the world? Is it the access to the right information? Are you lost? Is it your location, or where you live, or how far you are away from the opportunities? Maybe it's your language, your culture, or your traditions. Again, I ask you, what's holding you back?
Unlimited data from Airtel 5G Smart Connect. Whoever, wherever you are, stay connected. Stay limitless. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
You're still watching the news at 8 right here on OGTV, the People's Telly. The Senate has confirmed the nomination of Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede for appointment as Chief of Army Staff. The confirmation followed the consideration of reports by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Army, Senator Yaradua Abdulaziz Musa. The committee's recommendations were unanimously adopted by the upper chamber. Lieutenant General Oluyede was appointed to act as the Chief of Army Staff following the illness and subsequent death of Lieutenant General Taurid Abiodun-Lagbaja. The House of Representatives has resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the circumstances that led to the mass retirement of 1,000 staff members of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The House also resolved to ascertain the 50 billion naira payoff earmark for the settlement of the disengaged staff members of the Apex Bank. The resolution of the House followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Kama Nkemkama. Speaking on the motion titled Need to Investigate the Retirement of Over 1,000 Staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the associated 50 billion naira payoff scheme, Nkemkama urged his colleagues to rise to the occasion and show adequate interest on the matter. He noted that the House needs to probe CBN's announcement of a 50 billion naira payoff scheme to compensate the affected staff as part of its human resource reorganization strategy. The legislative also urged the Apex Bank to suspend further implementation of the retirement exercise and associated payoff scheme pending the outcome of the House investigation. This is just as it called on the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment to ensure that the rights of the affected staff are protected under Nigerian labor laws. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has officially signed the Lagos Electricity Bill into law. The ceremony, which was carried out at Lagos House, Alausa Ikeja, had in attendance the State Deputy Governor, Kadri Amzat, members of the State Assembly, as well as the State Executive Council members. Governor Sanwo-Olu commended the State House of Assembly for ensuring the speedy passage of the bill, stressing that the bill will change the socio-economic value of citizens in the state. He stated that the electricity bill has been in the works for some years, and now that it is finally achieved, as Lagosians can be sure of a steady power supply. On his part, the State Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Biodun Ogunleye, said the electricity law signed will provide an additional grid for Lagos State and also put an end to blackout in the state. Ogunleye noted that the step taken by the government stands as a beacon of progress that will ensure uninterrupted power supply in Lagos State. The Lagos State Electricity Law 2024 is a comprehensive plan of Governor Sanwo-Olu's resolve to address long-standing challenges in the electricity and energy sector. In a colorful display of solidarity, Ogun State Agency for the Control of AIDS, among other key stakeholders, has observed the 2024 World AIDS Day. The awareness, which culminated in a momentous walk, which began at Oksaka premises, Kemta Idiaba, Abeokuta, centered around the theme, Take the Right Part, Sustain HIV Response, HIV Among Children. The theme calls for unity and embodies the core of collaboration efforts to combat HIV and AIDS, acknowledging that communities serve as both the heartbeat of resilience and the architects of lasting change. Executive Secretary, Ogun State Agency for the Control of AIDS, Dr. Kendi Fatungashe, emphasized an end to AIDS in children, which can be achieved through a strong strategic and action-oriented alliance.
It's a solidarity to the fight against HIV and AIDS, and to support as many people that are having it. That the journey so far is not a journey of one or two, it's the journey of all of us. And that's why we are taking the right path this year, to sustain the response and to make sure that our children are HIV negative. By so doing, we increase our catchment area for our mothers, pregnant mothers especially, making sure that every pregnant mother in Ogun State attend antenatal, and every positive mother in Ogun State under the HIV response must have access to treatment so as to prevent the unborn child from getting it.
Dr. Fatungashe further called on multi-sectoral stakeholders at the national, regional and global levels to mobilize leadership, funding and action to end AIDS in children. Officers and men of the Ogun State Police Command have been offered free medical care by the Abeokuta Foundation in honor of the Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Abeokuta, for his gratifying strategies of protecting the lives and property of the citizenry. The free medical outreach, organized by the non-governmental organization, had police personnel, their families and residents as beneficiaries of free eye checkup, diabetes screening, vital health checks, among others, by medical experts. Olaide Oloye was at the Ogun State Police Headquarters in Lewero, Abeokuta. Details of our report.
A non-governmental organization aimed at serving people without discrimination, the Abeokuta Foundation, in honor of the Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Abeokuta, for his meritorious duty in service and in fulfilling one of the mandates to give back to the society, have offered free medical care to the members of the Nigerian Police Force in Ogun State Police Command, Abeokuta. The foundation flooded the Ogun State Police Headquarters, Elewero, Abeokuta, with medical personnel offering free medical treatment, diabetes screening and vital checks, among others, to police officers, their families and residents. According to the convener of the foundation, Adeokuta, the outreach is to help people deal with some minor ailments, identify major ones that will require immediate treatment, counseling and other first aid management, and refer them appropriately.
As a citizen of Nigeria, we look at the impact of our Nigerian police. So we want to give back to the Ogun State Police generally. So we thought of it that the best place to have a program like this, it has to be the police headquarters. Between 170 to 200 we've been able to cater for today. Yeah, and then for me, it's a huge success.
Officer in charge of Ogun State Police Command Medical, Dr. Iyegburominaso, acknowledged the foundation for counting them worthy, also emphasized the importance of knowing one's status.
It's not something that happens quite often for people to actually remember that the police is existing to come in this capacity. And they're actually doing this in honor of our Commissioner of Police, CP Abeokuta Mustafa, who by God's grace will be retiring very soon. So just to tell him that he did a very good job in Ogun State, so that at least from the foundation to actually show that this is their own way of showing love to the command.
A consultant of community medicine and public health from the Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, Dr. Adeniyi Makinde Adebayo, stated the importance of the outreach as one of the many ways to improve the health care of the needy masses in the society.
That we've been able to achieve today is that if you look at the list of those that came for the outreach, we saw over 200 patients, both old and young, including even children less than 1 year old. And then quite a number of the patients that we saw today discovered that they were hypertensive, which they were not even aware of prior to today. And so this is one of the good things that this outreach can help to improve the health care of the citizens.
In the monitoring exercise, members of Global Impact Initiative, Grace Falabi, applauded the foundation for the project well done.
They are really doing a good job and they need support. They need a lot of support from other NGOs or other philanthropies that feel like they should invest in something good.
Beneficiaries in the kind gesture showed gratitude for the rare gesture as it affords them the opportunity to know their health status and get necessary medical attention. Olaide Oloye, OGTV News.
The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, has announced that Nigerians will need to pay for the new multi-purpose national identity card, citing limited government revenue as the primary reason for their decision. In a visit to NIMC's office, one of the officers noted that NIMC is working with banks across the country, which will make it possible for people to walk into any bank closest to them and request the card. Tony Ogundekwe in this special report focuses on the pros and cons of this initiative. A report.
The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, has announced its plan to unveil improved national identity card that will come with payment capability and social services feature. The new card, created in collaboration with the Central Bank of Nigeria and Nigeria Interbank Settlement. According to NIMC, the enhanced national ID card will contain verifiable national identity feature as mandated by the NIMC Act. NIMC Coordinator Shola Shotayo notes that the card will provide access to government intervention to enhance transparency in social contract with citizens.
And the card is going to be on a need basis. As in, you want it, you approach either NIMC or any bank, and you pay the agreed amount of money.
Some of NIMC stakeholders described the new ID card as a postpaid identity card.
In the past, the card has been issued free by the commission, which is paid for by the government. But government is unable to sustain, paying for the cards, especially when most of the people didn't even come for the card. So what we are doing now, in a matter of weeks to months, with the new card, is that we will produce the card for people that need it, and they will pay a token for it. The token has not been decided yet.
Multi-purpose card it's a very good card that we use for transactions both in Nigeria and abroad, and it's something that would be widely accepted when it comes. We've test-run, and very soon it will be distributed at free will. Anyone that is interested would come and apply.
Shotayo noted that the new multipurpose card will promote financial inclusion, empower citizens, and encourage increasing national building efforts. Toyin Ogundekwe, OGTV News.
The future of a nation depends on the young generation. Therefore, it is important to inculcate the fear and doctrine of God in them. This was submitted by the founder of Asalam Central Arabic College, Fadilat Sheikh Al-Balagul Mubin Oguagbaye, during the Wolimato of the institution. Ayodeji Tomori Oluwumi completes the report.
The graduation ceremony of Al-Salam Central Arabic College was graced by important dignitaries and Islamic leaders from far and near. Chairman of the Planning Committee, Engineer Oriyomi Oshuolale, said the institution is committed to inculcating the doctrines of Islam into the younger generations for the purpose of propagating Islam.
It's a graduation ceremony for the student that is passing out and the one that is promoting to the next class to see that Islam is doing well, especially in this community.
The founder of Al-Salam Central Arabic College, Fadilat Sheikh Al-Balagul Mubin Oguagbaye, joined by invited guests, admonished the graduates to uphold the lessons of Islam which has been imbibed in them.
My advice for them is to encourage others to be focused about their education, because in Islam we need a lot of them.
They should be of positive impact to the world, most especially to the people of their community.
Small knowledge is not okay for somebody, for human being. So we continue the university, first degree, second degree, and professor.
Ẹ̀kọ́ tán kọ́ yìí kán lò lílo rẹ̀ ìgbéga ni ìkẹni ọlá ni.
Kò sí tó wá lè má láfíà wa tójú ìmọ̀ ẹ̀sìn lọ ká gbìyànjú ká kó àwọn ọmọ wa lẹ́sìn.
Speaking with the graduates, they appreciated the college for exposing them to the teachings of Islam.
I have learned the Quran, the Holy Quran. I have learned the Holy Tiras. And I have learned the Holy Tafsir. And I have learned prayers.
I can recite the Quran, I can pray, I can interpret the Quran.
Certificates were presented to the 40 graduates, as well as gift presentations to outstanding students. Ayodeji Tomori Oluwumi, OGTV News.
Ifa worshippers have been encouraged to continue to hold on to what they believe in, as the gods are capable of helping them find solutions to all life's challenges. Oba Ishegun of Obata Town in Abeokuta, Chief Ololade Olajide Sunday, gave these encouragement during his 7th year coronation anniversary as Oba Ishegun and 21st Ifa Olokun Festival held at his spiritual temple in Obada, where some individuals were given titles for their contributions to Ifa worship. Matthew Shomi completes the report.
After 20 years of leading his people in the worship of Ifa Olokun and meeting their spiritual needs, Oba Ishegun of Obada Town, Chief Ololade Sunday, kick-started the 21st Ifa Olokun Festival and his coronation anniversary with the worship of the God of Commerce amidst the proclamation of blessing on the people. The conferment of traditional titles on some of the adherents of Ifa then followed, as they were presented with a symbol of their titles after the performance of all the spiritual rites. Chief Ololade Sunday thanked Ifa for the journey of 21 years, which has shown that the gods are behind their people despite the numerous challenges being faced in the world today.
I'm very, very happy in the sense that I'm still alive. The life is booming for me and my community and my society. We celebrate what we knew that can do it. After Almighty God is God's.
The Oba Ishegun of Obada Town revealed that those being given the title have demonstrated good characters and promoted Ifa Oracle in deeds and worship.
They worship very nicely every time, so that is why they deserve it. My message to them is to continue doing well, so that they will be uplifting and upgrading again. So the people on my line, I plead to them to continue worshiping Ifa Oracle.
The new chiefs and the guests expressed their happiness in promoting traditional worship with a promise to continue to do more.
I would like to say thank you for KBC for the title that she gave me. So I promise to obey the rules and the regulations of the association.
Kí kálukú mú ojútó iṣẹ́ wọn. Iṣẹ́ ìṣẹ̀ṣe ò gba àbòsí, kán dẹ̀ jẹ́ kí inú wọn mọ́. Torí pé nǹkan ìbílẹ̀ ò ṣe é fi ṣe inú méjì.
Never I see a young chieftaincy. Whatever we do today, Oma Teni Ola. So, and I'm very, very happy.
They congratulate the Oba Ishegun for the wonderful celebration. Matthew Showme, OGTV News.
Simiat is standing by for business news after this break.
Thank you for joining the business segment of the news. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria has confirmed that the Port Harcourt refinery, with a production capacity of 60,000 barrels per day, is operational and currently producing various refined petroleum products, including diesel, kerosene, and petrol. This update was provided by the Pengassan National President, Festus Osifo, during the association's National Executive Council meeting held on Tuesday in Abuja, dispelling any doubt about the refinery's operations. Despite the refinery's much anticipated commencement of production, there has been considerable debate over its functionality. However, Osifo reassured attendees that the facility is indeed operational, although additional maintenance is still needed to complete its full functionality. The federal government has commenced a free compressed natural gas bus service in Abuja to ease transportation costs for Nigerians in the capital city. The CNG buses began operations on December 2, 2024, as shown in a video shared by the Presidential CNG Initiative on its X, formerly Twitter page. The buses, according to a report, will run along popular routes from suburbs in Abuja, such as Maraba to Eagle Square and Beja bus stop. The government had said that the buses would convey passengers free of charge for the next 40 days. And away from that, the National Association of Telecom Subscribers will write to the National Assembly over the federal government's renewed push to impose a 5% excise duty on telecommunication services. The group is set to meet this Wednesday to finalize arrangement for the petition, which specifically seems to halt legislative approval of the controversial tax while the matter remains unresolved in court. The legal battle against the excise duty is ongoing at the Lagos Division of the Federal High Court, where the case has been adjourned till March 13, 2025. The president of NATCOMS, Adeolu Ogunbanjo, disclosed this to newsmen, highlighting the urgency of notifying lawmakers. Nigeria is returning to the international capital market for the first time in over 2 years, issuing Eurobonds to bridge its growing fiscal deficit, according to a document presented to potential investors, which was seen by journalists. The government will offer a 6.5-year bond and a 10-year benchmark-sized bond with expected yields of 10.125% for the shorter term and 10.625% for the longer-dated bonds. For the shorter-term bond, the federal government hopes to get at least $500 million from foreign investors. This marks Nigeria's first Eurobond issuance since March 2022, signaling a renewed effort to address the country's fiscal challenges. And finally, on business news, low-earning pensioners are now permitted to withdraw their total retirement savings en bloc or continue to receive their monthly pension pending the approval of the minimum pension guarantee. This is according to a memo by the National Pension Commission. which was signed by the head of the Surveillance Department of PENCOM, simply identified as A.M. Salem in the memo obtained by journalists in Abuja and dated November 27, 2024. The Commission said the development followed the new Section 414.1G of the revised regulation on the administration of retirement and terminal benefit in line with the new minimum wage of 70,000 naira. Before this announcement, retirees are only allowed to withdraw 1/3 of their total RSAs. And that's the business news. Many thanks for being a part of it. Back to Dominic for the other segment of the news.
Many thanks, Semiat. And to the foreign scene, deadly Israeli airstrikes and a mortar attack by Hezbollah have raised fears that the ceasefire in Lebanon could collapse. Meanwhile, Vietnamese property tycoon has lost appeal against a death sentence for masterminding the world's biggest bank fraud. Let's join Iyolua Adeni for details on the foreign scene.
Deadly Israeli airstrikes and a mortar attack by Hezbollah have raised fears that the ceasefire in Lebanon could collapse. 10 people were killed in southern Lebanon on Monday night after Israel carried out its biggest wave of airstrikes since both sides agreed last week to end 13 months of conflict. The Israeli military said it struck Hezbollah fighters, launchers, and infrastructure and urged Lebanese authorities to prevent what is called the group's hostile activity. Hezbollah had earlier fired 2 mortars at an Israeli